This Friday, you're getting the biggest Spider-Man movie in years, under the strangest title in the franchise, Brand New Day. Sounds like a promise, right? The trailers sell it that way. Fresh start, clean slate. But those words weren't invented for the movie. They come from the comics. And in the comics, a brand new day was never a gift. It was a purchase. Because that phrase was born the night the most moral hero Marvel has ever published stood in a motel room across from the devil himself and said yes. Not for power, not for money. He said yes to undo one bullet. And here's the detail that should genuinely bother you. The devil turned down his soul. He wanted something worse. So that's what I want to answer with you today. Why would Peter Parker, of all people, shake that hand? What did it cost? And who's still paying? Because the honest answer starts with Peter doing the most responsible thing he's ever done.
First, meet the version of Peter the deal erased, the one you never got on screen. He's married to Mary Jane, rings, vows, the whole thing. And Aunt May lives right under the same roof. Then the government passes a law. Register your real name or you're a criminal. Tony Stark backs it, and somebody famous has to go first to sell it. So Peter walks up to a podium in Washington, on live television, and takes the mask off. His name, his face. He tells the planet he's been doing this since he was 15. Now, imagine being one of his enemies, watching that broadcast. The man who's humiliated you for years finally has an address. A wife's face you now know. An old aunt's name you can look up. Trust me, Peter did the responsible thing here. And in this story, responsibility is about to mail him the bill. Watch how fast that choice goes wrong. From a prison cell, a crime lord called the Kingpin orders a hit. And here's what should scare you. His shooter doesn't need to find Spider-Man anymore. He knows where the family sleeps. So a sniper sets up across from the motel where the Parkers are hiding, and the comic keeps drifting his scope off Peter onto the woman he married. Outside that room, MJ is praying. You can read it on the page. She'd give up anything at all if Peter just comes home alive. The next panel puts a crosshair on her face. Hold on to that prayer. Trust me, we'll need it. What if the wrong thing was listening? Peter survives the superhero war and comes home. MJ opens the door, and across the street, a rifle settles on the curtains. His spider sense fires half a second too late. He tackles her to the floor. And for exactly one panel, you think he saved everyone. But you never see the bullet land. It happens in the white space between two pages. You turn one, and Aunt May is down, bleeding from a shot that only existed because Peter told the world his name. Now, watch a superhero run out of universe. Where do you go when the hospital fails? May is past anything medicine can do, and Peter's a wanted fugitive with a fake ID and no money. He begs the richest man he knows, Tony Stark, and gets a rooftop fistfight, then $2 million wired in secret. It buys her a private room. It can't buy her a heartbeat. Then Peter says the quiet part out loud. He tells MJ he'd sell his soul to save her. And the narration warns you, thoughts that big get heard. The question is, what's listening? Magic strikes out too. Stephen Strange lets Peter search the whole planet at once. Every doctor, every genius, every miracle worker. All of them say no. Strange even lets him try time itself. Imagine standing at the moment of the shot as a ghost, screaming a warning nobody hears, watching the bullet find her all over again. So, the sorcerer offers the truest line in the story. Everybody dies. All we control is whether the people we love die alone. Go hold her hand. And Peter almost accepts it. That's when a little girl he's never met smiles up at him and says she can fix this. Here's where the devil enters, and I think it's the creepiest sequence Marvel has ever printed, because he doesn't arrive with horns. he auditions. First, he's that little girl, then a lonely gamer who'd trade everything to be a hero for one day, then a billionaire who owns everything, except the woman he lost. Sound familiar? But then comes the reveal. They're all him, alternate Peter Parkers, from lives where the spider never bit him. And in almost every one, Peter ends up alone. And when the mask finally drops, a shadow the size of a building rears up, and Peter says the name, Mephisto. The devil's been beside him all day, wearing faces. So Peter asks the obvious, "You want my soul, right?" No. Best devil logic in comics? Souls traded away for love don't really suffer in hell. They know their sacrifice mattered. Where's the fun in that?
Why would a devil want a marriage? He tells them straight out, theirs is the rarest love in existence, holy in the eyes of the one he hates most. Peter was never the point. He's leverage in a war with God. Now imagine the fine print. It's worse than you think. One more day together. Then the marriage never existed. Nobody remembers it, including them. Except a small piece of their souls always will, and it'll scream forever for his entertainment. Then they meet the last casualty. The red-haired girl returns, and this time she isn't a costume. She's the daughter they'll never have. So who says yes? MJ cracks first. She accepts and calls him a monster in the same breath. Then she whispers something private to Mephisto, and the page refuses to show you what. You and I and the internet are still arguing about that blank space. But her yes isn't enough. The devil needs both halves to sign. So MJ takes Peter's face in her hands and gives him permission. Peter screams his consent through gritted teeth. One word back from the devil? Done. So what did Mephisto keeping his promise look like? 2 of the most quietly devastating pages Marvel ever printed. Their whole history, first kiss, wedding, every rooftop, dissolving in front of you like burning film. And here's what gets me. As the silhouettes shrink into the dark, the comic replays the very first thing MJ ever said to Peter, the jackpot line fans quote to this day. That's what's being repossessed. Then Peter wakes up, single, broke, in his old bedroom at Aunt May's, and downstairs, May is cooking breakfast, alive. The story closes on an actual toast, raised glasses under a splash naming the new era, a brand new day. The title you'll see on posters Friday is the last line of a contract. The era after reads like the devil's checklist. Nobody remembers whose face was under the mask. Harry Osborn, a friend Peter buried, is suddenly alive, buying the drinks. And MJ? Gone. Moved across the country for reasons the comic won't explain. The rarest love in a millennium, reduced to a cold hello at a party. And one newspaper prop should chill you. Spider-Man gone 1,000 days, crime at an all-time low. The city did fine without him. That's the world the marriage bought. Now, the part of the Mephisto story nobody tells you. Marvel has spent 18 years quietly confirming what the deal really was, and I promise the receipts get darker as they get newer. In 2021, the comics finally put Mephisto back on the page to explain himself, and what he confesses should scare you. He's been meddling in Peter's life since before Peter was born, because he keeps seeing the same vision, his own endless reign, and the one person who ends it. He calls all that meddling risk aversion. The devil got scared of what a happy Peter Parker might build. The comic never says who ends his reign, but your brain just went somewhere, didn't it? Red hair, a smile, a promise she could fix everything. Same story, second receipt. Norman Osborn confesses he sold his own son Harry to Mephisto decades ago. Same devil, same trick. He collects families. And right now,
Open the current run with me and you'll see it. Peter and MJ still aren't married. She's bonded to an alien symbiote. Marvel's own recap card prints it flatly. Venom, also known as Mary Jane Watson. They banter like exes at the office. Even this year's letters pages still sort the whole timeline into before the deal and after it. 18 years of publishing, and the bill is still open. And this summer, days before the movie, Marvel just dropped a brand new comic named after that same morning after. The deal isn't history, it's the marketing plan. Now, back to your weekend plans, because you've already watched Peter Parker make this deal. You saw it. It was the ending of No Way Home. Picture it with me. You know this shape. A desperate Peter, a magic user in the dealer's chair, a price that sounds noble in the room, make everyone forget, and lands like a curse. The man who saved everyone, alone in an apartment nobody visits. The movie swapped the devil for a tired sorcerer, and the marriage for the memory. Same deal, same fine print. And the sequel, opening Friday, is named after it. So when that title card comes up this weekend, everyone's going to read it as hope. You'll know what it's confessing. A brand new day isn't a fresh start, it's the receipt for one. Because if you ask me, the scariest part was never the devil's grin. It's that some mornings feel clean precisely because you can't remember what they cost. May got her years, Peter got his secret, and somewhere, a small piece of two people is still screaming through the installments.